Hey, what's up guys? We're back again with the best deck in Clash Royale's new meta for everyone that's not a professional player. If you're not a Clash Royale pro, it's ridiculously difficult to get every optimal placement to maximize your efficiency with cycle decks. If you make slight slip-ups with your defense, you'll probably instantly lose. And that's why playing a defensive graveyard freeze deck with the spawner is the easy way to victory. When you have super sturdy cards with Mega Minion, Rascals, and Mighty Miner, your opponents are going to struggle to break through. And even if things get dicey, you have freeze on backup to clutch and clean everything up. The game plan with this deck is simple. Stack up Spear Goblin Huts and watch the damage roll in. And when double elixir hits, you can go for graveyard freeze when you're up elixir, using arrows to remove any bait cards that they use on defense. And with the Spear Goblins rolling in the front and the skeletons pounding the tower from all sides, this deck is a nightmare to try to defend. It's time to use our spooky skeletons and Spear Goblins to climb all the way to a 12-win grand challenge and assert dominance. Lots of love to everyone that's supporting the channel with creator code SirTag. If you don't have Mighty Miner, use Valkyrie or Skeleton King. All right, so this guy's gonna have Mega Knight in his banner. Let's see what's cooking. So if he goes in for a Mega Knight, we can shut that down with our Mighty Miner or our Thick Boy from the Rascals.
Little time and going after John Cena.
It's not gonna do anything at the start, really. It's just gonna let us go for a Barbarill. We see Bats. Bats is a suspicious thing if we're thinking Mega Knight, right? So he could be running a Skeleton Barrel Mega Knight deck with Miner. Ooh, really gonna be running something like that, right? Oh, wow. He's giving me exactly what I was thinking. He's gonna go for a Miner directly into our Mighty Miner, right? No, he goes in for the Miner directly on the Skeleton Barrel and also the Spear Goblin Hut. Yeah, I'm just gonna click the ability to blast that to bits, keep our Mighty Miner slightly healthier. For one elixir, I think it's worth it, because I'm gonna be playing passively anyway. Oh, Bats, that's annoying, man. So, I guess my Mighty Miner was destined to die regardless. I kind of wasted elixir trying to protect him. I had hoped he would have had a better life, more to live for, but he just died anyway. So our opponent has Goblin Gang in cycle, and he's got Spear Goblins, and he's going to get back to his Skeleton Barrel any second. This time he cycles the Inferno Dragon. So if we're playing against Mega Knight and they're reluctant to cycle their Mega Knight, that's kind of bad for us. We want him to spam Mega Knights into us. Obviously, in the later stages of the match, our deck becomes exponentially better, because when there's more units on the map, our freeze will give us more value. Also, Graveyard Freeze is 9 elixir, and we kind of want to have a tank with it, or some supporting arrows or Barbarill. So that will already ramp us up to like 12 elixir if we want to go in for those arrows, right? So not going to be something that is easily affordable in single elixir, especially if your opponent goes and spams on the other side. So we're kind of waiting until we get to the double elixir so we can really reach our stride. The guy is going to go in for a Skeleton Barrel again, so we can Barbarian Barrel here and eat the rest of the Miner damage. It doesn't necessarily matter to us. The Miner's got a nerf, so it doesn't do much to my tower. It already tickled towers, but now especially you can feel that. Dude, he's got his little squeaky plush toy and he's slamming my tower, but it's not really amounting to anything. Actually, we're only down by 10 HP, and we're going to get a massive matchup advantage in the later stages of the match. So as you guys can see, we can go in for a graveyard here. The Mega Minion will be tanking. I can go for arrows depending on what he does, or I could freeze. I think freeze is infinitely better because the Inferno Dragon's dead. The Spear Goblins on the right-hand side are not targeting on the Graveyard Skeletons. And notice how much damage I got in one push. That's all it takes with this deck, is just get a little bit of an advantage and roll through your opponent. So we're going to go in for a Barbarian Barrel here on top of the Skeletons and have the Spear Goblins from the left-hand side finish off the Bats and still go on the left-hand side. I didn't want the Bats to go and wander their way somehow on me, so I decided to go in for a really high Spear Goblin Hut. Also, he's going to go for Mega Knight, but notice how we shred through the Mega Knight so freaking fast with the Rascals. Rascals' damage per second is ridiculous. Dude, the Mega Knight went backwards instead of towards the Rascals. The Mega Knight had a high IQ, but I think the Skeletons are going to say hi to the tower. Dude, the Mega Knight died on our opponent's side of the map. Isn't that pitiful? Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that something that you wouldn't expect? That's super cool for us. So we can just go in for a Goblin Hut here. It's going to go and pull the Skeleton Barrel, and it should pop on this side of the map. That's going to be fine for me. He's going to go for everything that he has. It doesn't matter. Spear Goblins are absolutely overpowered against Skeletons, and as you guys are about to see, there's nothing that our opponent can do but give up. So GG, and well played, sir. He even said good game at the end, so our Mega Knight friend was a pretty chivalrous sir. As you guys can see, the deck might start off slow and super defensive, but it ramps up the offense and amplifies its power the later the game gets. Each time we went for a destructive graveyard push, we took a huge portion of his tower. Yo, this guy finished 26 in the world. Let's get it. So we're going to be playing against a stellar player. Dropping a good luck here and figuring out what his deck is. I'm going to go for a Barbarill, and he isn't going to respond with that much. Never mind, he's going to go and drop a Goblin Hut. So we're going to go and mirror up your play, man. We're going to drop our own Goblin Hut, show you what goblins are coming out and at full force from our Goblin Hut staying alive a little bit longer than yours. It's nice because we had a minor tank for our Spear Goblin Hut, so then we were able to get a bit more value. Fighting on our side of the map is optimal because then our tower's going to be helping out with our Spear Goblins as well. then we're able to finish his off a bit faster. We've got a lot more HP on our Goblin Hut than his is. This is actually dead, so I guess it has 0 HP. So I'm going to go for Rascals, and I'm going to go and click the Mighty Miner Bomb so my Mighty Miner doesn't get blasted to oblivion. And then I can get a Mega Minion down if I need to. I think I will have to, otherwise the Phoenix will be able to tap on my tower, and I don't want that to happen. Do I go for Freeze? I wish I was able to go for a Barbarill there, but I want to conserve my Elixir to go in for a Graveyard on the right-hand side. Since I have Rascals counter-pushing, I might as well make the most of them. Whenever your opponent makes a slight slip-up, even if they're one of the best players in the world, you want to capitalize on the moment. So he's going to let that lock onto this tower. He can't really do anything about it. The Rascals are locked and loaded, and that is piling up 1,500 damage. So despite this guy having a Graveyard Poison deck and being one of the best players in Clash Royale, all we had to do is wait for our moment and capitalize on his disadvantage of Elixir. He didn't have enough Elixir to stop us, even though he had Poison for the Graveyard. The Rascals in the front really put in work. Meanwhile, we can go for Goblin Huts on defense, and he can't Poison on that because he had to Poison on the Graveyard instead. That's what I like to do. I like putting my opponent in a bad spot where they have to pick between poisoning the Goblin Hut or poisoning on the Graveyard. Now, obviously, he decided to go in for a poison on top of the Graveyard instead. So, we're going to go in for a Mighty Miner here to be able to finish off the Barbarian Barrel so that it can't lock onto my Girl Rascal. And then I can maybe go in for a Mega Minion again, and then arrows if he decides to go in for his Rascals or any bait card. Yeah, so he's going to go Goblins. I wonder if we're able to finish off the Phoenix Egg too. Let's go, baby. All right, so I should snag the tower here. I'm going to go and click the bomb so I go on the other side. And the top 26 player in the world already left the game. He said good game, and he doesn't want to play it anymore, despite him having a hard counter to us, too. The guy had Graveyard Poison, and he still lost the Graveyard Freeze. So, if you guys haven't picked up this deck already, I don't know what to tell you. It's probably the easiest Graveyard Freeze deck in the game right now. After the Goblin Hut got buffed, this is a way better version than the Tombstone version that was in the previous meta. And it's more free-to-play friendly, too. Having the Mega Minion instead of the Phoenix, just a great deck all around. Just to prove that beating Graveyard Poison with Graveyard Freeze isn't a fluke, here's my battle log. We won against it 2 times in a row, and now we're at 6 wins in a grand challenge with 0 losses. Yo, this guy's gonna have Lava Hound and Mega Knight in his banner. What the heck are we gonna play against right now? Dude, you're throwing me for a loop with this deck. So I'm the Goblin Hut low because it's just a super safe strategy, and the guy is going to showcase Lava Hound. If you guys look in the corner, there's a dragon eye that appears right behind our opponent's King Tower, and it opens and closes. It's freaking me out sometimes. It's also one of my favorite arenas. I guess, you know, we're kind of playing in a dragon's belly or something, maybe. So we're going to go for Mega Minion on the same side as his Baby Dragon, Inferno Dragon. Wow, this guy is playing the dragon cards in the dragon arena. It makes sense. Maybe he feels like his cards are getting a secret cheerleader buff because the dragon's cheering him on. He went in for the most spontaneous clone ever, and everything's getting desecrated. So generally whenever I play against Lava Hound and my opponent makes that bad of a play, what I try to do is I go Mighty Miner, and I want to go in for like a Barbarill if he goes Skeleton Army, or arrows if he goes Minions, or oh wow, I'm going to arrows on those guards immediately. We're going to wait and see if he clicks another small spell or another small card. We go in for the Mighty Miner ability, we go to the other side. Oh, I wanted to freeze on that so bad. I wanted to tear his towers apart with my freeze, but it didn't work out. Mighty Miner with freeze is a gigantic win condition that people do not appreciate anymore. Because Mighty Miner got a nerf to its speed. It used to move ridiculously fast like a race car, and now it doesn't move as fast anymore. So people don't respect it, and they don't really give it the necessary precautions. But if it locks onto the tower, it loads up the damage, it secures you the win right then and there. A slow roll a Mega Minion closer to his Baby Dragon, so then the Baby Dragon doesn't do any damage to our tower. And then, Inferno Dragon's not going to fare so well against our Graveyard. So we'll see what happens here. I can freeze if he decides to go in for guards or anything. I'm going to drop it last second, and he's going to go Bats. Interesting. Do I freeze plus arrows? Nah, I think it's an overcommitment. I'm not going to get greedy because we did so much damage to the tower. I don't have to respond to the bats. If I overcommit with arrows, then he might have an opportunity to go in for a Lava Hound and then support it with extra stuff. If you guys notice something, he dropped the Lava Hound when I was at 7 elixir, so he was effectively up 3 elixir. He would have been up an entire 6 elixir if I went for arrows. And that would have probably put me in a position that I wouldn't be able to defend because, you know, I would have gotten too greedy. I've already done so much damage to the tower, I'm not going to be stupid out here. I'm going to go guards, so we'll arrows on those immediately. Probably going to go in for a Lumberjack, so we're going to go and click the Mighty Miner ability and try to make a prediction here. He went for Inferno Dragon instead. Let's go. Dude, he can't stop the Mighty Miner freeze. This is what I was foreshadowing at the start. And look at the Dragon Eye. It opened up in the back of the arena. Right as we took the tower. It wanted to watch and see what was happening. It's like, wait, you've awakened the beast. That's crazy that that worked out for us. And it's also funny that the Dragon's Eye opened right as he lost the tower. It was feeling that something was rumbling in the arena. I wonder if that just happens intermittently or if it actually happens when you take a tower. You guys can let me know down below in the comment section. We're going to go in for a Graveyard here with the Rascals, and we should be able to pop through and secure the W. I don't think this guy has anything left. He just completely succumbed to defeat and left the game. That's what this deck does to so many of our opponents today. People just leave because they don't want to play against the deck. It's way too strong and it's too tough to defend because the Mighty Miner can switch up and swerve and go to so many different sides of the arena. You got freeze to hold your opponent's units in place. You have Spear Goblins to consistently roll through, and you have arrows and Bar Barrel to remove all of your opponent's distractions. For me, it's one of the most difficult decks to play against in the entire game, and that's why I wanted to showcase it today. Let's get it. We see a guy with a Dark Goblin and the Banda clan. Is he a bandit? I don't know. Is that a different language that I don't know? Oh, come on. Oh, it still got pulled. I dropped the Goblin Hut on the other side, but I forgot the Goblin Huts have a longer pull radius than a cannon. So if you drop a cannon, a Tesla, or a bomb tower there in that position that I dropped the Goblin Hut, it does not pull the Hog Rider. That's another benefit of running spawners. The pull radius is larger, so you can pull Hog Riders, Electro Giants, all of your opponent's win conditions a tad bit further. Okay, so it's probably going to be a 2.6 Hog Rider deck. Oh my goodness. Are we able to put in the work against the Musketeer? That Musketeer got shredded. We baited out a cannon, countered a Hog Rider, and crushed an entire Musketeer with a 5 Elixir Goblin Hut. If you guys were wondering, yeah, Goblin Hut is a little bit strong after the buff. It is also one of the highest rated cards in the history of Mega Draft right now. So if you're looking at the Mega Draft win rates, professional players are always picking Spear Goblin Hut, or if they're not, then they're losing to it. We're going to go and pull the Hog Rider slightly with our Goblin Hut here, and I wonder if the Spear Goblins on the left-hand side are going to put in work. I don't think that my opponent has a good answer for it. Dude, so many Spear Goblins. They're spearing our opponent's heart, and they're really just showcasing why they're my spirit animal. Such a strong card in Clash Royale right now. After the range buff, you might think it's just kind of small, but I think it was a 10% increase. Okay, so do I go for the Mighty Miner? Nah, I don't click the Mighty Miner ability. Cannon's going to do so much damage to it, though. I wanted him to hide. You know what? I'm going to go and click the ability. I'm expecting him to go for skeletons. I'm going to freeze. I'm going to make the prediction. Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Does it give me anything? I think it's like 500 damage. Wait, that's way more than 500. A 1 HP hero. Destroying dreams and making our memes possible. Let's get it. I love making those type of predictions. He doesn't have Hog Rider in cycle, so I can go for another graveyard because Thick Boy is everlasting. He never dies. So we are probably going to get our opponent in a bad situation because he doesn't have logs, so he can't desecrate our Goblin Hut. It is our sacred shrine, and you cannot defile it today, man. So he's going to go for a Hog Rider again. We should be able to pull it with that really long range. It's cool because if our opponent fireballs, he's not able to hit the Spear Goblins that are going in the other side either. So very nice. Spear Goblins are going to force out an Ice Cold. Dude, that's ridiculous. That's 6 Elixir from our opponent, and the Spear Goblins are still there too. That's so cool. I really love the card. So we're going to Mega Minion here, and we're going to posture it in the left-hand side, and we're going to cycle our Rascals primarily in the right. So if he goes in for a Hog Rider, he's not going to be able to log on the majority of the Rascals. He'll probably log on top of the Spear Goblin Hut and the Rascal here, but it's okay. You can go for a Graveyard, and the Rascal might be able to take the targeting from the cannon, so the cannon's not targeting the Graveyard Skeletons. That's super solid stuff for us. I'm going to wait and see if he Musketeers. I'd rather go in for a freeze on that instead of the cannon. I think this guy is frozen. He's not going to be able to thaw his way out of this one. Come on, Mega Minion. Serve him the justice. Let's go. Slapping him silly. And we walk away with a dominant W against a 2.6 Hog Rider deck that almost everyone hates playing against. Or maybe you like playing against it because you've got like Mega Knight Tornado with Mini Peck in your deck. I don't know. I'm not you guys. Let me know down below in the comment section if you like playing against 2.6 or if you hate it. It's time to see if we can get the 12 win. We're playing against the Beast, so maybe this will be a test. I don't know. We're going to go for a Bar Barrel. He's already dropping a good luck, so I appreciate that, man. I need the best luck I can get here. Going to go for Rascals. Could it be a similar deck to us? Could he be using the exact same strategy? The high likelihood of that because our deck is so popular right now. I'm going to go for Mighty Miner in the middle because it should be able to slap both of the Rascals. The Thick Boy locking onto my tower is kind of insignificant though because most of the damage that you're going to be getting in this matchup is going to be from graveyarding, so not going to be too bad for us. I wish I was able to pull the Thick Boy, let's be honest there, but I wasn't able to make that happen. And it seems like it's going to be a similar matchup. It's going to be the exact same deck as us. So we want to be able to stack up our Spear Goblins, and we want to be able to stack up our Spear Goblin Hut behind our tower. Ideally, we drop it right next to our King Tower or behind our tower so we can defend graveyards with it as well. I'm going to go for a Bar Barrel here so we can clean up the Spear Goblin so it doesn't get any damage. You can go for an aggressive arrows. That's totally fine for me. He might go for a Graveyard right now because I don't have any suitable answer for it besides arrows, which isn't ideal, right? We want to have some bait card, whether it's Spear Goblins or maybe going in for graveyards. We don't have the right card cycle here, so I'm just going to go and click the Mighty Miner Bomb to obliviate those Spear Goblins. And then I'm kind of not in the best footing. I don't really have an ability of going in for Spear Goblins. I got to go in for Mega Minion here so I can keep cleaning up his Spear Goblins. Oh man, I want to have a good card cycle in this matchup because playing in the mirror matchup and you don't have the right card cycle, it's extremely punishing. We want to have the Goblin Hut on the map, and then we want to be able to stop his graveyard. So I'm going to arrows here so that none of the Spirit Goblins are able to come out at us and force out Elixir. I think that we're fine. I'm going to go in for Mighty Miner if I need to, but I shouldn't need to. I want to go Mighty Miner on the other side because the Rascals are out of cycle from our opponent. Especially if he goes in for arrows, I should be okay to go in for Rascals on the graveyard. And I can go Mighty Miner to go and pull his Mega Minion without spending much Elixir. The Mighty Miner a bit lower will make sure that the second tower, this tower on the right, will be able to target the Mega Minion. So you won't have to worry about that either. All right, so I could click the ability here. I don't think it's worth it. I'm just going to go in for a freeze depending on what our opponent does. Yep, he's going to go for Bard Drill and he's going to go Rascals. So much damage for us. That's the power of patience with this deck, guys. We're popping off with the value. All right, we can go for arrows as well so then he doesn't get any counter push, but I'm waiting for the Spear Goblin Hut to be a little bit lower so then I can arrow on all the Spear Goblins and finish them off. Then I'm going to go for a Spear Goblin Hut a little bit lower on the right-hand side for us. I'm going to Bar Brill here. I'm expecting him to go for a freeze. He's going to arrows instead, and then he's going to freeze afterward. So I don't have to go in for anything else. The Mega Minion should die. He did go for arrows, so he's going to be down a bit of Elixir. I want to go in for Rascals, and then I want a Graveyard, and then I want to freeze. I'm going to make sure I have enough Elixir for this, though. Please, Thick Boy, be tanking out here. Tank! Tank so we don't tank the game. All right, amazing freeze value. We're going to be able to walk away with a 12 win. Come on, let's go! It's also ridiculously fitting to be playing against the exact same deck that we're playing for the 12-win Grand Challenge. It just shows you the strength of this Graveyard Freeze deck. It's literally unstoppable, and everyone else has succumbed to play to it. If you can't beat it, join it, and that's what a lot of people started to do. And winning that allows us to come through with the juicy, delectable 12-win. Let's open up the cards and tell you what I think of everything. Well, obviously, the gold doesn't matter because we have 5 million. Tombstone, really good with Graveyard. I think it's an underrated card. It also can be placed out of position so your opponent can't Earthquake on it, so it's good at defending against Royal Hogs with Earthquake or Hog Rider with Earthquake. Ice Spirit needs a nerf in my opinion. The amount of stun that it gives for only 1 Elixir is unbelievably overpowered. I would nerf that thing immediately. It's an S+ tier card. Inferno Tower kind of fell out of the meta. Tombstone, and then also running Bomb Tower is preferred by pro players. I don't see Inferno Tower that much anymore. Can be good with Graveyard Freeze if you want to run it, but it's not the best. I would like Spear Goblin Hut my Graveyard Freeze decks, as you guys saw today. Skeleton Dragons, utter trash tier card. I would give it F tier. It only works with Lava Hound, and even then, the splash damage that it has is awful. Ice Golem, it's good at tanking for units. It's pretty good with 3 Musketeers. It's worse in Expo. You would prefer Knight because it gives you more health for its cost, and it can also kill things. Ice Golem is good at kiting units to the other side, but other than that, I think it kind of needs a buff. Musketeer, the best range card that isn't a champion. So overpowered in Hog Rider cycle decks and Mighty Miner minor control decks. You just cycle so many Musketeers when you have a Mighty Miner on the field, and nothing can break through it. Giant's good with Giant Graveyard. It's good with Giant Double Prince. It's a universally good card in most decks. It's just not a top tier card. Fire Spirit, one of the better spirits in Clash Royale. It does more damage than every other spirit. This doesn't have as much splash damage, so you don't see it on defense as much as like an Ice Spirit, because Ice Spirit is so much better. Also, Royal Hogs, one of the better cards in Clash Royale. It's great with Royal Hogs, Royal Recruits. It's good with Royal Hogs Mortar. It's good in fast cycle decks with just Cannon and Archer Queen. Goblin Gang, not as good as Skeleton Army, not as good as Goblins, not as good as Guards, not as good as Skeletons. You don't see it played near as often anymore. So, Goblin Cage, pretty good with Graveyard, good with Royal Giant. Typically just seen with Royal Hogs, Royal Recruits though. Arrows, you saw it last meta everywhere. It's phenomenal at countering Archers, Firecrackers, Princesses, a staple of most decks. And then, Giant Skeleton, one of my most underrated and appreciated cards in Clash Royale. It is so strong. When that thing explodes on the tower, or it explodes on your opponent's units that are supposed to counter Royal Giant, it gives you absurd value. In my opinion, for anyone that's not a professional player in Clash Royale, this Freeze Cheese deck is by far the best deck in the game. Like, subscribe for more daily videos, and have an amazing rest of your day.